Welcome to InfinityCast. I'm your host, Elias Whitlock. Imagine a world where traveling just 50 miles could mean resetting your watch a dozen times. A world where a city's clocks could be completely out of sync with its neighbor just down the road. This isn't science fiction. It was the reality of the 19th century. Today, we're delving into the chaotic and surprisingly violent birth of standard time. And joining me to navigate this temporal maze is my co-host, Elian Quanta.
It's a pleasure to be here, Elias. It's a topic we take so for granted. Before the 1880s, time was a fiercely local affair. Each town set its clocks by what was called local mean time, the moment the sun reached its highest point in the sky. That was noon. A jeweler or a church steeple would often be the official keeper of the town's time. In a place like Pittsburgh, you could find 6 different times for 6 different railroad lines, all operating out of the same station.
And this, of course, was absolute madness for the era's great technological engine, the railroad. Scheduling was a logistical nightmare. A train traveling from Boston to Buffalo had to navigate dozens of local time zones. More than just an inconvenience, this was deadly. Miscalculations led to head-on collisions. The railroads knew they couldn't tame the continent without first taming the sun.
Exactly. The solution came from a man named William F. Allen, the secretary of the General Time Convention of Railroad Managers. He proposed a radical idea: divide the North American continent into 4 distinct time zones: Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific, each an hour apart. All clocks within a given zone would be synchronized. It was a brilliant, logical plan driven entirely by corporate necessity.
But the public was furious. This wasn't seen as progress. It was seen as an arrogant imposition. The press and preachers railed against railroad time. They called it an affront to nature, an attempt to replace God's time, the natural rising and setting of the sun, with the cold, mechanical time of the corporation. An editorial in the Indianapolis Sentinel declared that the people must eat, sleep, and work as well as travel by railroad time. The sun is no longer to boss the job.
Resistance was fierce. The mayor of Bangor, Maine, defiantly refused to adopt the new system, calling it a damned monopolies time. Some cities maintained 2 clocks on their public buildings for years, one for local time, one for railroad time. But the railroads held all the power. They announced that on a specific day, they would simply make the switch, and society would have to catch up.
That day was November 18th, 1883. It became known as the Day of Two Noons. At noon, Eastern Time, telegraph signals were sent out from the Allegheny Observatory. In cities and towns across the country, life paused. Clocks were stopped, reset, and restarted. In some places, noon happened twice. In others, minutes or even entire half hours simply vanished from the day. It was a coordinated top-down reordering of reality.
And despite the protests, it worked. The sheer convenience and economic power of the railroads made conformity inevitable. Within a year, over 85% of major cities had adopted standard time. Yet it's fascinating to remember that this system we live by wasn't passed into federal law until the Standard Time Act of 1918, over 30 decades later. It was a corporate mandate that became our reality long before it became our law.
A truly revolutionary moment when the clock on the wall became unchained from the sun and the sky, all for the sake of a train schedule. That's all the time we have for today on InfinityCast. Thank you for joining me, Elian.
Thank you, Elias. A fascinating journey.
And thank you for listening. Join us next time as we explore another corner of our shared history.